what's a good power number? Here at Triathlon Taren, we will not leave you dangling on that. Good morning, Trainiacs. So today, we've got ourselves an FTP test, as in the pain. Now, somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, what's a good power number? That is a very big it depends, but I am going to give you an answer that gives you some guidelines as far as where you rank in relation to competitive triathletes and where you rank in relation to pros for what a good kind of power number is. But first, pay. Serious? Oh my God. That was not the greatest. I didn't have fun there. Okay, so you hear me talking about FTP, functional threshold power, very quickly. For the people that say that I don't know what it is, you can do a 20-minute test, max yourself out. About 95% of the normalized power that you held for that 20 minutes is your FTP number, which is about the max amount of power that you can put out over a sustained 1 hour period. All right, I know what it is. Jeez, you try talking off the top of your head for 365 days in a video and see if you screw up. So people often say, what is a good FTP number? Well, it's entirely dependent on a few things. Namely, how heavy you are is a huge determinant of what a good FTP number is. So in my case, I just did a decent FTP test. My legs are really smashed up from weight training yesterday, so I couldn't expect to have my absolute best FTP test, which was 273. I was about 263 there. 95% of that is my FTP number, so we're talking low 250s. Now, should all of you be going for 253 or better? No, not at all. When you start weighing more, your FTP number naturally goes up. So I ride with a guy locally here that weighs about 50 pounds more than me, and his steady state when we're riding together is like 310, whereas mine is low 200s. But if you want to compare yourself to other riders, regardless of weight, a better measure is watts per kilogram. And this is simply how many watts you can hold over a given time period divided by your weight in kilograms. And this is a fluctuating number. There are numbers that are good for 20-second sprints, numbers that are good for 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 60 minutes. Here at Triathlon Taren, we will not leave you dangling on that because we found a resource that gives you some benchmark watts per kg. So let me give you the watts per kilogram based on an FTP test, because that's what a lot of you are going to be doing to determine your training zones if you've got a power meter. Now, a world-class cyclist in functional threshold power will be able to hold 6.6 watts per kg. A novice, completely untrained rider is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of around 1.6. I myself, based off that test, because I am 157 pounds, 71 kilograms, my functional threshold was 252. Divide that by 71 kilograms, and I am at 3.5 watts per kilogram on an FTP test, which puts me in between good, puts me at good. So you can use that range of 6 to 1.6, with me being 3.5 and being able to do somewhere in between a 230 and 240 half Ironman, tending to do very well, being towards the front of the better cyclists in a race. That's a decent number. What you can also do with watts per kg is understand what the mechanisms are that will make you a better cyclist. And it's two very simple things, because it's two inputs in that mathematical equation. One being the watts that you can put out, the other being the weight that you're at. And you can get a higher watts per kg by either raising the amount of watts that you're able to sustain or lowering your body weight. I'm not going to talk about all the ways that you can do it because we've got many other videos. By the way, you should be subscribed if you want to make sure that you get all of those other videos. If you already are subscribed, high five! You can gradually increase the amount of power that you put out. Conversely, on the other hand, you can lower your weight. So this is why you see pro cyclists coming into the Tour de France looking like borderline dead. Or you hear pro triathletes being on a diet in the months leading up to a race because they want to have as high a power number as they can get and be as light as they can. And then their power to weight ratio is better because if they're putting out the same amount of power but they don't have as much weight to push, they're going to be faster. So there you go. It's not all FTP. Watts per kg is equally as helpful. And how nice do these lights look, huh? This is tropical twilight. This, Arctic aurora. Savannah sunset. Sounds like a stripper. There you go, Trainiacs. I'm done. I'm toast. That was brutal.